Hey there, this is Joe Techie. I'm back again doing another review. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the BrydgeAir keyboard for the iPad Air and Air 2. Yes, that's right, this keyboard will fit both models. So let's just take a quick look and see what's good and what might be bad, and I'll let you be the judge. So first off, I'm going to go ahead and unbox and let you see what's inside and take a look at some of the features, and we'll cover the pros and cons as we're going along. Okay, so here's the box, and just wanted to show you some of the markings on the box. It's actually packaged quite decently. Okay, so let's go ahead and open this up. All right, so over here we have some rubber feet, and actually it says Air Black, which means that can be interchanged with the iPad Air. So I'll cover that in just a little bit. Okay, and here is the charging cable. That is a mini USB plug. Okay, and then we've got the little pairing your keyboard, little quick literature that it comes with. Gives you step-by-step instructions on how to pair it, and we'll cover that as well. So let me set this aside. Okay, so here is the actual keyboard, and I just wanted to just quickly cover some of the features here. Okay, so the material is all aluminum construction. It's actually very nice, durable, hard feeling. It's very solid. And the color schemes appear to be pretty spot on. This one is the space gray. It comes in also the silver and gold as well. Weighs approximately 1.5 pounds just by itself. It also has Bluetooth speakers on the back. And you'll see those two stereo Bluetooth speakers, I might add. Okay, and on the back here, it's got rubber feet. Okay, it also has backlit keys. So that can actually be controlled here with this button, the backlit keys. You can control the variable lit lighting with that one key. Okay, it comes with a 3-month battery life. So I'm assuming if you probably don't use the lighting and if you don't use the speaker functionality, you could probably get roughly 3 months of life out of this. It has Bluetooth 3.0 connectivity. And as I mentioned before, it is compatible with both the iPad Air and the Air 2. It has interchangeable rubber shoes, so to speak, that are going to fit right in here. These will actually pop out. They're kind of like glued in a little bit. You just pop those out. So the one that is actually already set to fit in here is for the iPad Air 2. And the ones here are for the iPad Air. So literally all you have to do is pull those out side by side if you have an iPad Air and put these in its place. And they have a little 3M sticky material on there as well. Okay, so let me go ahead and also just quickly cover. So here's the charging port on the side. All right, and on the front side, you've got the power switch, and you'll notice that it's giving you some little icon indicators there. Like this is the power, that's the keyboard, and that's the audio. And I'll cover how we do that here in just a second. Let me go ahead and break out my iPad, and let's go ahead and mount that in place. Okay, so this will just slide right in, and you might have to give it just a little bit of force initially. And if you're worried about getting it aligned, all you have to do is close it. And I am just a little bit off, so all you have to do is kind of shift it just like that, and it gets right over. So there we go. Okay, so I went ahead and changed the orientation because I prefer it this way, to have the home button over here. That way you have access to your volume buttons up and down, and you're easier to access the sleep wake button over here as well. All right, so let me go ahead and pair this device. Let's go into settings and then Bluetooth. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to power it on. You'll notice that there's a little blue blinking light here. Okay, there it is. It's blinking blue there underneath this little slash button. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down the keyboard button. Okay, and that pops up with the BrydgeAir keyboard option to link it. It is now connected. And I'm going to do the same with the audio. So I'll just hold down the audio button. You'll hear a tone. That is the tone that indicates that it is turned on. And what's interesting about that is that's the typical tone that you hear with a lot of Bluetooth speakers when you turn the speaker on and when it becomes available. So to pair it, what you actually have to do is hold this down. I'm going to turn it off. And then this time I'm going to hold it down for probably about 5 seconds or so. There. So you hear that second tone and then it comes up, and then you can pair the Bluetooth speakers as well. Now you can optionally have the speakers turned on or off. That's completely up to you. And you'll see that the speakers are now connected. We get the tone that indicates that it's also connected. Okay, so let me cover some of the other things that I haven't mentioned yet so far. So the hinge itself, there's no wobble. It's very solid. It actually lays all the way back 180 degrees if you want it to. And because of the way it is set up, there's no lean. So in other words, it's not tipping over. You'll notice that you could be standing up and looking at it straight down and do this number here and have it at any angle you want, and it's not going to tip over. Okay, so as I mentioned before, it's very solid. It has a dedicated set of function keys at the top here, which I like a lot. And you've got your typical home lock. As I mentioned before, you have varied lighting available, which you can see there. And then you have your standard other keys here. Another thing I like a lot is that you can control the brightness from the keyboard itself, which is not a feature available on too many of the iPad keyboards that I've seen out there. Only maybe 2 or 3 or so. Okay, so let's talk about some of the things that I'm not too 100% fond of. Okay, so first off, the back of the iPad is bare. Okay, that's just the look of it. Don't get me wrong, I love the look of the iPad. I just don't like to have it naked because I am paranoid, and I think that it could get damaged. It can get, you could easily bump it into a corner, drop it, and then crack the screen, and next thing you know, you've got an expensive repair unless you have some kind of coverage to cover that. And one thing that I want to note also is that for a case that doesn't have a kind of back cover to protect it in this price range, I kind of feel like it should have it, but again, that's a preference thing. Some people like the naked look and some don't. One other quick thing to note, on the back, as you're using the hinge, the actual hinge itself is metal as well. However, there are no rubber feet to cushion while it's in its open position. The only rubber feet are the actual bottom of the keyboard itself. So that's also something to note, because you may run it like this to kind of drag it across something, and depending on what surface you're on, it might possibly scratch it. So that's just something to keep in mind. Not necessarily a deal breaker, you just need to be careful when using it. The speakers, I did get a chance to play with them. They are convenient because they are pointing this way out of the keyboard in the direction that I'm facing, and because the iPad is angled at you, it angles the speakers towards you, so you actually get fairly good sound out of the keyboard. However, I have noticed that the sound that comes out of the Bluetooth speakers is not as nice as the speakers that are built into the iPad. So ultimately, it depends on what you're attempting to do. If you just want good general sound, it's a good use for this, especially if you're viewing a video or something like that, and you want to hear better without having to put your hand over the end of the iPad to cup and angle the sound towards you. That's a good option. Also, one thing, the keys type very nicely. They have a very nice feel. They feel solid. They're not jiggly or wobbly or anything like that. And I've did some type tests, and which we'll do one right now. And there's no key repeating. There's no double keys or anything like that, or key skipping as I'm typing. And of course, that's just me mistyping things. I like the feel of the keyboard. It actually does feel quite nice. I feel like I can get quite a bit accomplished if I need to type something up real fast, something that might be lengthy. So it's actually a pretty good, solid keyboard for the typing capabilities that it has. Now the hinge might get in the way of certain controls. So for example, if you're watching a full screen video and certain browsers or different controls might appear in the lower corners, like your full screen or your play stop here, that may get in the way because of the hinge being so far down and so close to the edge of the screen, which happens to be right here. The control center is also going to be another tough one to reach because it's going to be hard. You have to literally stick your finger all the way down at the end. And if you happen to already be in something So for example, if I unlock, I can't even get to it. So the only way to really get to it is if you flip it this way and go like that. So if you flip it this way and go like that, you'll actually be able to easily access, which means that every time you need to do something where you need to get to a button or a control that happens to be way at the far bottom corners or access the control center, you'll have to flip it over to the side. You also only get one single color for the backlit keys. You know, there's the 3 different varied lit intensities. However, you only get one color, which is the LED white. Not necessarily a deal breaker, but it definitely would have been nice to have more than one color to choose from. Now, last but not least, this is one of the higher priced keyboards out on the market. At the time of this review, was priced at $149.99, and that price may come down over time. So I hope you found this review useful for your buying decision. Don't forget to stop by thejoetechie.com for more great information, tips, and tricks. And as always, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and have a great one. Joe Techie is out.